Over the last couple weeks, another content creator house was announced. It's called the Hype House. It has all your big favorite
They've
TikTok.
got such cringe names.
I know,
hate it.
but it
I hate
works. It works. They've
The
got
Clout Gang.
I think they've had over 100 million views on their TikTok videos already in the last 2 weeks. So
What does that mean, though? On TikTok, that doesn't mean anything. You've got Mully downstairs who did a song of him singing Bohemian Rhapsody in VR. That got 198 million views.
It's great content.
TikTok views don't make sense. No, he's deserved those 198 million views, god damn it. But, like, my point is that, like, I have a TikTok that has, like, 30 million views, and it's me eating a banana while another banana watches me. I don't know what success means on TikTok. Is 100 million good?
Okay, moving on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Moving on. The Hype House holds, I think, 6 to 8 of the biggest TikTok stars in the world right now. But it sort of triggered an interesting thought for me because content creator houses are something that is not totally new, although new for TikTok. And it's something that we've had a pretty, close relationship with, given that we started the Click House about 1.5 years ago now. And I thought it'd be a really interesting one to talk about in terms of what's the history of content creator houses, why do people do it, what are the pros, what are the cons, and ultimately if they work or not. So tell us a little bit more about when the idea of a content creator house sort of came to you, or when you sort of started thinking about that was a possibility for yourself.
I mean, like, I've always liked the vibe of content creator houses. I mean, we can go more into detail later, but I've been to a lot of them. Before Click started, like, I went and stayed with Vic at the Sidemen House for a week or two. Mm-hmm. Been to obviously the phase houses in the old Hollywood Hills. And, I also, me personally, have spent a lot of time, it's not a gamer house, but boarding school, is not, it's not too far off it though. It's like living with a bunch of people your age,
like-minded, doing the same thing.
Somewhat like-minded, comes with all the good and the bad. But also I think just naturally, I think the reason why you see them so much, I mean, I think it's twofold. I think that they definitely are a lot easier to understand around channels that do IRL content. Because I think obviously that you see something like the Team 10 house, it's obvious why it exists. It's because literally you can get out of bed in the morning and you instantly have content. You are surrounded by content. You're surrounded by creators who know when a camera is pointed at them how to be entertaining, how to like give you content on the spot. Yeah. Whereas if you live by yourself, you have to go out every day in search of content, which is hard. And I think that when it comes to that IRL content, and also I'm guessing Vines as well. Oh, sorry, TikToks. God, I'm getting all my apps confused. But like the TikTok house, it makes sense for them as well because I'm sure that they can sit there, they can brainstorm ideas. They need someone to be in a TikTok and be really like emotive and do something specific. They understand what they need to do. Whereas I think with gamer houses, it's slightly different. And I think that it's why you see a lot of gamer houses do that IRL content. Sidemen, mainly a bunch of gamers, but because the house did IRL content. FaZe, I don't think they initially took advantage of it as much, but they're definitely starting to now. Yeah. They're starting to do a lot more like hide and seek stuff with everyone in the group. Yeah. And obviously what we did with Click. I think though that, one of the biggest motivators, and I think the big reason why the Click house started is because I mean, like, YouTube's a great job, but it's very solitary. Yeah. You can easily, and I mean, I myself have done it for the space of a week, and I know people like Fresh have literally not left the house for the space of like 2 months. Yeah. Like you can completely do your job and do your job well and literally move between 2 rooms, your bedroom and your study, or maybe you have them both in the same room and you don't have to leave one room, and then Uber Eats all your food.
Oh my God. I remember, so I also don't know if we've mentioned this on the podcast, but Elliott and I are also brother and sister.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that.
I don't think so. But I remember when Elliott and I used to live together for a period of time, and Elliott was sort of on the grind of YouTube. He was on the real come up.
It's that first year or two.
And I remember he had his setup in his bedroom, and he would literally be in his bedroom probably 23 and a half hours a day, I reckon. And you would come out in 10-minute increments to grab food or go to the bathroom.
23 hours a day. I had to go get coffee in the morning.
Go get coffee. But really, like, you didn't leave that room. You were constantly either making videos or editing or sometimes sleeping.
It's the grind.
It was the grind, but it was solitary, and you really like you can totally lose perspective of everything else going on in the world. And I think to bring it back, that's why content creator houses can be really appealing as an idea, because you know, it is a solitary job. And so to be able to live with people that are like-minded and can relate is a really, really appealing idea. And then also, obviously, there's the massive benefits that come with being in an environment that allows you to collaborate and be part of a collective. And then suddenly, you know, you're not just a creator out on their own, you're part of something big. And so people that might find you through someone else in the group suddenly are also invested in you too. And that, as a creator in 2020, I think is still one of the absolute fastest ways to grow. Yeah. Making content with other people, being part of something that's just bigger than your own personal identity is really, really big.
Yeah, I mean, to quickly stray from the house topic, I guess, to the more like YouTuber group topic, which I feel like you could tackle as a whole other thing. But yeah, you know, you see some of the Sidemen guys, or a lot of the Sidemen guys these days, will make like one video a month, or they'll literally go away for 6 months and not do anything, but then they come back and they post a video and it'll get like millions of views. The only reason you can do that is because you're in a group. Most people, like, it sucks, but like you can have a lot of viewers, you can have a lot of fans who really, really like your content. You go away for 6 months, like, people forget about you. They just do. The internet moves too quickly. Whereas if you're in a group and you're still maintaining that presence there, then people are like, oh my God, dude, can't wait for him to make a video again. They come back and it absolutely blows up.
Yeah.
But back on the house topic. Yeah, I definitely think the whole, kind of like living with like-minded people who are kind of moving at the same pace, interested in the same things. And I think even though obviously you're not doing IRL content as much, like what you have in like a Team 10 house, it's still good. You know, I could literally kick Cray's door down and be like, Cray, duos, now, let's go.
Yeah.
And then go like record a video, which YouTubers can be notoriously bad at. You'd be like, oh, dude, we recording today? They'll be like, yeah. And then like you're just sitting there waiting, like, where are you? And then you're just DMing them and they're not replying. And you're like, what the hell? If Cray did that to me, I would literally go kick his door down and be like, oi, remember 4 p.m. you said, get on. And then like go from there.
Yeah. I think it also does serve the purpose. It does, you know, as cringy as the name is, create hype. Like, I think Team 10 was probably one of the first groups to really do it in a big, big way. I mean, obviously Sidemen are OG and they've been doing it for ages, but I think Team 10 is one of the first groups that were purely doing that big vlog, IRL content. They had one huge member in Jake Paul, and they massively created a narrative for themselves. And I remember I was in LA a couple years ago or something and was in West Hollywood where the original Team 10 house was, and walked by this street and didn't realize what street I was walking by, but noticed that there was literally 100 kids outside this house. And it was like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And everyone was just there. Why weren't you in
school, Jimmy?
Everyone was waiting for someone to come out of the house and catch a glimpse of them. And that was massive. I don't think people had ever seen that level of celebrity that came with being a YouTuber.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's crazy when you think about it. I think it's also interesting, like the different vibes that different houses have. Because like back to that whole thing where I've gone through a lot of them. You know, I've stayed at Sidemen Place, you know, like spent a lot of time at the FaZe Place. And just in like every way, how different they are. You know, like when you go to the FaZe one, I can tell that they have like a team behind them. You know, they have people who are in charge of keeping things going, making sure the house is okay, making sure that like furniture got bought and that everything is like where it should be. And also that they, you know, are very like, you know, that LA culture of like, it's the flex, you know, you want to be able to have like, oh yeah, bro, come into my house and like, oh yeah, check this art on the wall. And I think people like Banks, definitely, he cares like in a good way. He cares a lot about
the image,
and also like, Yeah, like he's really passionate though. Like I remember going through and it would be like, oh dude, like this art on the wall. Like, they've got this crazy like foam art all through the house. And Banks just loves the artist and is like obsessed with it and it's everywhere, like way too much. I'm like, what the hell, man? You've got like literally like 60 pieces from this one artist in your house. But you know, you can tell that house has like got management behind it. Things are organized, things are clean, things are where they should be, and things are, you know, like put together.
Yeah.
Then you like transition that with like the Sidemen house, and it's like once again actually really clean. Like one thing I would say that house has on lock is they were really good with their, you know, like rules and people cleaning up after themselves. It was never messy. But you know, then you notice things that are missing. Like you're in this mansion that's probably worth like $20 million. It is ginormous. It is huge. And you walk in and you're just like, there's no furniture in this entire thing. It's like I just walked into a freshly built house that's empty. They literally had, I think, a couple of stools in the kitchen and they had one couch with like a TV.
It's like
and
the pure example of what happens when you get like 6 guys in their early 20s living in a share house, except the share house is really, really big.
Yeah. There was like some storage rooms that were filled with I don't know what, just like random crap. But yeah,
and
you can just tell it's one of those things.
Amazing computer setups.
Yeah, yeah. But then you go into people's rooms, which are where their PC setups are and where they like live essentially, because the rest of the house is more decorative. And you go in there and it's like an absolute setup, man. Like some of the best bedrooms you've ever been in, you know? You've got these beds that have TVs coming out of them. You've got beautiful carpets and chairs and decorations with all the million subscriber plaques across the wall. And you're like, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's like super set up. But you can really tell how much time is spent in the room versus outside
the common
of it.
areas, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, you know.
It's really interesting. I mean, it's a crazy concept, really, the concept of creator houses. And I think there's so many pros. I think there are cons as well, though. I think Definitely. It can become really all-consuming, and mental health in gaming or mental health in creators is something that we definitely want to like do a deep dive on in a future episode. But I think creator houses can really exemplify that in a way, because while in one way it's really nice to be surrounded by like-minded people that understand what you do and you can relate to in a way that it is a difficult career to relate to if you don't do it, it can also be completely all-consuming. And I think it's very easy to lose touch with the outside world when you're surrounded by other creators that are doing the same thing as you. And it's really easy to just become obsessed by the numbers or obsessed with your performance relative to other people's and really feel like you're in an absolute bubble.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's, yeah, like you say, pros and cons. And I think you can really tell from like different people. I think that, you know, you see someone like Baz before he went into the click house when he lived alone versus like what he is now is like actually still very like actually hasn't changed that much, but definitely there's been so many like positives that came out of it for him, you know, like Marcus, when we're in the click house, would just drag people to the gym. And then suddenly there became this like gym culture where now you had Cray and Baz, who actually Cray might have done it a little bit before, but not nearly to the extent. And now absolute like going to the gym, dude, got to get my proteins for the day. Like got to, you know, oh my God, I can't wait. Like I'm lifting this new amount. Like look at this. Like I look insane. And that's the kind of thing where if you're living alone and you're not like individually motivated to do that, yeah. It's hard. You're not really gonna you're never really gonna like develop those habits. Yeah. And when you live with people, like I mean, it can also be the bad habits, which is the, you know, the risk, but a lot of other people's good habits can really rub off. Yeah. And you know, I think most of the downsides are really just downsides that, you know, anyone living with anyone is always gonna have, like, oh, there's the messy guy. Oh, this thing that this person does really irks me. And I think it's just making sure that, you know, you kind of nail those things down and don't let them spoil the overall kind of vibe. Yeah.